Hello everyone, you're watching Dr. Medicine. Today we are going to discuss about a deadly disease that is plague. I'm sure that you have heard this name frequently for the last few days in news and all other media. You know, China just got record from the coronavirus and now they are much worried about this new deadly disease. In this video, we will learn about its causative agent, incubation period, transmission, and also the preventive measures and symptoms. Come on, let's go into the video now. So what is plague? Plague is a bacterial infection which is caused by the bacteria Yersinia pestis and it affects the lung, lymph node and blood vessel. The plague is a fatal disease in which approximately more than 200 million people have been dead by this disease. Do you know the types of plague disease? There are three types, namely the bubonic plague, pneumonic plague and septicemic plague. Of these three types, the Chinese people are now affected with this bubonic plague. So we will see bubonic plague in detail. So bubo is a Greek word which is termed from the swollen lymph glands. So it is an acute infection and painful swelling of the lymph node. It also is the most common type of plague. It is usually transmitted when an infected rodent or a flea bites an healthy human. The bacteria will spread throughout the lymphatic vessel of the human until it reaches the lymph node. The pneumonic plague and the septicemic plague are the other types of plague, where pneumonic plague is another type of plague which arises from infection of the lungs. It causes coughing, sneezing, etc. Pneumonic plague is the only form of plague that can be transmitted from person to person, while the bubonic plague or the septicemic plague cannot be transmitted from person to person. And septicemic plague is when the bacteria enter the bloodstream directly and multiply there. If it is left untreated, both bubonic plague and pneumonic plague can lead to septicemic plague. The mortality rate is also high in septicemic plague. Now we are going to discuss about the bacteria which causes the plague. Plague is usually caused by the bacteria Yersinia pestis. Yersinia pestis is a gram-negative bacteria and is also a rod-shaped, non-motile, facultative anaerobe and a non-spore-forming bacteria. It is resistant to freezing temperature and drying and is usually killed by heat and sunlight. It is virulent and it cannot survive outside the animal. It infects, thus disables its immune system. It releases toxins to kill macrophages. Yersinia pestis was discovered in the year 1894 by Alexander Yersin and it can infect human and animals via the oriental rat flea. It can reproduce inside the cells, so even if phagocytosed, they can still survive because it produces an anti-phagocytic slime layer. The common symptoms of bubonic plague may include sudden high fever, headache, chills, body aches, swollen or painful lymph node, and etc. So the transmission. Do you know how the plague is transmitted? As I told you earlier, pneumonic plague is the only type of plague that can be transmitted from a person to person through the air droplet. Now, bubonic plague can be transmitted usually by indirect contact, that is by touching an contaminated soil or a contaminated surface, or fecal oral transmission usually from contaminated food or water sources, and vector borne transmission, that is carried by insects or other animals. How the flea can infect us? When a flea bites a human or contaminates a wound, the plague carrying bacteria are passed into the tissue. Once it gets into the body, the bacteria can enter the lymphatic system easily. If the disease is diagnosed in time, the various forms of plague usually responses to the antibiotic therapy. Prevention. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says that reduce rodent habitat around your home, workplace, and recreational areas, remove brush, rock piles, junk, cluttered firework, and possible rodent food supply such as pet and wild animal food. Make your home and outbuildings rodent proof. Wear gloves if you are handling or skinning potentially infected animals to prevent contact between your skin and the plague bacteria. Contact your local health department if you have questions about disposal of dead animals. Keep fleas off your pets by applying the flea control products. Animals that roam freely are more likely to come in contact with the plague infected animals or fleas and could bring them into homes. Do not allow dogs or cats that roam free in endemic areas to sleep on your bed.